Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of my video log. This episode's a little bit different. It's not just the last fortnight or weeks worth of my training and kind of an update of how things are going. It's instead a compilation of the last year of some experiments that I've been doing with my squat. And I thought that, maybe showing you how I went about changing my technique, things that I tried, might influence you to examine the same thing in your own training. So about a year ago, October 2014, I attended British Nationals, which is the championship competition, the national championship competition for the GBPF, and I got red lighted twice on squat depth. So that led me to experiment quite a bit with various aspects of my squat stance, width, squat bar placement, where I cued my hips, how I cued my knees, where I put my belt, all those different variations I experimented with. And what this is showing is kind of a punctuated documentation of that experience. So as you can see, and as you've probably seen in those first few videos, I tried high bar with a narrow stance and it felt pretty uncomfortable. I tried low bar placement, but it was really hard to hit depth. And I even actually tried low bar placement with flat shoes, that kind of thing. And then I went back to high bar, just because I feel that with the length of my legs and upper body, that low bar actually puts the bar slightly behind my centre of mass, and so I end up having to loop back around underneath the bar during the rep, which is pretty uncomfortable. But I went back to high bar and tried super wide stance, as you're seeing here, but struggled to hit depth, and eventually settled on a stance width that I believe will keep me within the GBPF regulations and also be able to still progress strength wise. So as you saw in that first clip, my stance width was narrow and it allowed me to hit depth, but it certainly didn't feel comfortable, it didn't feel stable, and I don't think that I had much room to progress with that particular variation. I've now settled on, and what you'll see after this particular clip, 2 videos of me squatting with my most recent stance, is a moderate stance width with toes pointed slightly outwards and a high bar position. And while it certainly doesn't feel anywhere near as strong as when I had my stance wider, I feel that I'm able to hit depth and I'm able to kind of bottom out at the bottom of the squat, as you can see here. It still allows me to move 220 kilos with reasonable speed, and also allows fairly decent comparability and repeatability, because in the racks that I use typically, there's a very simple way to set up my feet to ensure that I'm always kind of pointing my toes at the same angle and always have my toes on the same line. But I guess the lesson to be learned here is that it can feel very foreign when you change a technique. It can feel very weak, very uncomfortable, but if you stick with it and play around, tweak with it and refine it over months or years, you'll eventually end up with a technique that you're more comfortable with and will allow you to progress further in the long term. Okay guys, that's everything for this week, and I'll speak to you soon.